X-Men: The Last Stand. Where do I even begin? I think what upsets me the most about this movie is that there's so much potential. This could have been an okay send-off to the X-Men Trilogy. You know, the first two movies were pretty good, and they could have had a nice ending. But they didn't. So let's get in with what the storyline is for this one. There's kind of two different storylines here that they go with. There's kind of a lot of things that is happening in this movie, and I find that there's some pacing issues because they kind of go back and forth between so many different things that it kind of just feels jumbled. One of them is that there is a cure for mutants, and that's a huge thing. That's kind of a cool subject because, you know, you have two sides to this. One of them is they all take the cure so that they can all be human, and then there's no you know, fuss about, you know, there's mutants out there, let's all cage them or something like that. No, we're all human. We can all be human. Or do we stay as mutants, or do they stay as mutants, and, you know, we go into this world where it's divided by mutants and humans living together in a cohesive unit. And that's, you know, one of the biggest things about X-Men has always been that. I feel that it's always been like, you know, kind of what black people had to go with. Especially during when they first created the X-Men. It was in the 60s. There's a lot of that going on. And I thought that that was just a really cool aspect that they showed it with just mutants. And it's just a different tone to look at it, a different skin, if you will, for what they had to go through. So that's a really cool subject. They kind of handle it okay, but they didn't really delve into it, and some of the things that I'll get into just really didn't work. Another huge storyline here is that Jean Grey is back, and she's the Phoenix. The bad thing is that she's not an alien, godlike being that, you know, goes into people and anybody can kind of be the Phoenix. You know, it picks a host, kind of like Venom, also from space, but it's not like that. It's not at all like that. It's just that Jean Grey kind of has two different, an alter ego, almost. There's Jean Grey, the normal person that we've seen for the past two X-Men movies, and then there's the Phoenix, who is like this crazy batshit, very powerful mutant, who's just crazy, which is what the Phoenix is, but now they're saying that it's two sides of Jean Grey. It sucks. It's not that good. And what happens in this movie is that I do like that kind of the X-Men are divided. Wolverine and Storm are pretty much the only ones that are still from the previous team. Cyclops is hardly in this movie. Like, he's in the movie for 5 minutes and he's gone. As you know, I really like Cyclops, and I'm really upset that they didn't use him properly in this trilogy. I do like, though, that they have the younger mutants from the X-Men kind of joining up the team. Colossus, Iceman, Rogue, Kitty Pryde. Rogue not so much, maybe, but the other ones, I like that Iceman had a bigger role. I wish Colossus would have had a little bit of a bigger role. He has some action scenes, but he doesn't really have any lines. And Beast is introduced. Freaking awesome. I love Beast. That's one of the positives of this movie, is Beast, other than Wolverine, Beast would be my favorite X-Men, but Wolverine obviously takes the cake. He's just like, he's so intelligent, and he's a big blue furball that like does acrobatic things. He's just awesome. And Kelsey Grammer did a really good job portraying him, I thought, for the most part. The writing isn't the greatest, but he did the best that he could, and he looked the part too. A lot better than the guy that played Beast in First Class. I know that they changed the makeup, thank God, in Days of Future Past, but Beast in First Class, man, he looked different. Juggernaut is also introduced. And Juggernaut's kind of in the middle. Other than him saying, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch," which is freaking awesome. It's one of the greatest parts of the movie. Other than that, he's not that cool. He's not at all like the character that he was from the TV series. He only can use his powers when he gains momentum. So they kind of have him strapped down. He can't do anything because he can't gain momentum. But then later on in the movie, he kind of goes through like the floor, and he's all the way up to his chest, so he can't move, but he still breaks through. And it's like, he didn't have any momentum. How did he do that? There's like little inconsistencies like that in this movie, which is unfortunate. What else? I wrote down everything here. The action is really good in this movie. I will say that. There's a lot at the beginning, how the team are working together, and it's kind of Days of Future Past like. Then later on, Wolverine kind of goes to this camp where there's a bunch of mutants that are joining the Brotherhood, and he just destroys everyone. And always when Wolverine is just destroying stuff, it's good. I'm simple-minded. I like action. And the end of this movie is fairly enjoyable. There's a few miscues, but I liked kind of seeing all the X-Men that are still around making a line and just basically taking on like 100 mutants at once. That's pretty cool. So the negatives. Phoenix, obviously. No Cyclops. The human president is just horrible. He's just, I can't take him seriously. They should have really kept the president from X2 at the end of X2, especially because they let it up. Like at the end of X2, they talk to the president and they say that, you know, this is your chance to change the world. And basically he had, because Beast is actually part of the government. And he talks to the president. So they obviously had gone that route, but they didn't use the same actor, and he's just so much more cartoony and like just, oh, this is so, it's just horrible lines come from his mouth. Pacing issues, and just probably the worst part of this movie is Archangel. We really don't get a lot of lines from him, and he's kind of set up as this character that we're supposed to care for, that, you know, doesn't want to be a mutant anymore. He doesn't want to have the wings, but he also kind of wants to be a mutant by the end of it, and he's kind of like this image for hope for mutants that want to stay as mutants. It's done so in such a cheesy manner. Like he's about to get like the cure, and he's like, no, I don't want this anymore, and he runs away and he breaks through the glass and then flies away. And then later on in the movie he shows up again and he saves somebody, and he doesn't say anything, he just shows up. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, that's the worst part of this movie, is when Archangel's there. I really like Archangel, but man, I just couldn't get behind that. So X-Men Last Stand could have been a lot better. There's a few scenes that are worth watching. It's obviously worth checking out if you've watched the first two movies to see kind of how it ends. But apparently Days of Future Past completely redeems what happened in this movie. So I cannot wait to see what's going to be happening with that. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's there. It's kind of, you need to see it if you've seen the other two movies, but it's just, don't go in expecting a lot, especially from Archangel. God, that's horrible. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this movie, because I just, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. You've been Bearded In. Beardage.